What's happening, fellas? Ryan here with the DFS 5-pack. Hopefully everybody had an awesome Sunday, and to a few of you ladies, what's up as well? Hopefully everybody had a good Sunday. Fantasy football, DFS, DraftKings, FanDuel overlay, whatever it was. Hope it was wonderful for you guys. Exciting Monday night slate. We got two games. I'm going to go through the two-game slate right now. I did do a members-only video for the two showdown slates and this one. If you are interested in that, I'll also do a write-up for the two-game slate. Day passes are up on the website, guys. Go click on that. Buy yourself one, $5, and I'll send that all over to you via your email. Love to have you guys kind of follow that one along and just watch it with me. If you could drop a like on the video, that is great as well. And let's move into what we want to talk about for this slate. All right, moving along. Never want to hesitate to bring up show sponsor, overlaydfs.com. The matchup shop continues to grow fast and furious. The Madison one hurt. He was awful yesterday. Feel like a real clown after that. But a lot of the other ones cleaned up yesterday, making another profitable day on overlay. If you haven't been checking out this website yet, this new matchup shop is amazing. You can just go make individual bets. I.e., I had Joe Mixon over Miles Sanders that paid out handsomely yesterday and a couple other ones. Check them out on my Twitter profile. You can follow me on Instagram below. I do a lot of individual stuff talking about this as it continues to grow. Come have some fun with us over there. Next up, I also want to reiterate that there will be a lot of NFL information going forward. So a lot of it will just be for customers. Would love to have you guys come jump on board of that. The NFL package is up for sale at the website. It's only $80. It gets all the regular season. It gets every slate that we cover. It'll get you the playoffs, everything that's included in it. Just go check that bad boy out. Only $80 gets you the rest of the year. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Thumbs up is appreciated. Now, let's talk about the quarterback position today, guys. So I'm looking at Kyler Murray, but let me be really upfront when I tell you that if you prefer Mahomes or Josh Allen or even Andy Dalton, your points are very, 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 very valid on this one. Mahomes is, the stud of studs. Josh Allen has been nothing short of amazing this year outside of the last game against Tennessee. I am probably going to roster Kyler Murray, but it wouldn't take much to talk me into either one of these two. So if they are your preference, I want to reiterate, they're great plays. This is my personal preference, but I cannot argue with you on this one and not say that your point could be 100% spot on and correct. So the reasons I like Murray, first and foremost, it's the Dallas defense. The Buffalo defense is not as good as it has been in years past, but it's still better than Dallas. Kansas City's defense, it's not great, but it's better than Dallas. Quarterbacks are elite from a DFS perspective, but give me the guy going up against the Dallas defense in the faster the pace of the two games, more than likely. Now, it's possible that Dallas slows it down a little bit with Andy Dalton at the helm, but also one that's in a controlled environment, nice fast track for offense, versus the one that might be playing outside in the game that might be a little bit rainy, according to one of my guys who lives in Buffalo, DFS Wolfpack, that's you. So I'm looking at Murray. He is my favorite, but all of these top-end studs have good reasons to like them. I think Andy Dalton has a reason. A lot of it has to do with salary, but for me specifically, I don't want to take the risk that three guys all averaging darn near 30 DK points and Andy Dalton, who's a very good backup. I don't want to have these three guys go for 26, 29, and 32, and then Dalton comes in at 12, and I lose out on that. Now, it's possible Dalton could be really good, but for me, I like the top stud, specifically Murray. Excuse me. Now, sticking on the other half of this game is Ezekiel Elliott, who I think, again, obviously this one's pretty clear to everybody, right? He's the top option at running back on Monday by a pretty good margin in my eyes. His levels of touches inside the 5 is insane. He is a focal point for this offense when they get down to the goal line. Without Dak Prescott there, it's also another good reason that, you don't have to worry as much about Dak getting the ball and rushing it in. We saw Dak take a couple of rushing touchdowns. I think that was week 2 or week 3, if I remember correctly. That's not as big of a concern with Andy Dalton. So it's another reason Zeke is a focal point inside the 5. They're going to be a little less creative with Andy Dalton. So Zeke is the man inside the 5 for the Dallas Cowboys. He's viable in any game script. We've watched Dallas drop off to, numerous big deficits this year, and he's really gotten to work his way inside the passing game. Expect him to lean on the run game without Dak Prescott in there. And again, the other running backs on the slate, I don't really consider them superb options. I don't know about you, but Zeke is the guy coming in with what I would assume to be high ownership today is a priority for me, even with all of the other good money or big money good plays on this slate. I look at Zeke as a priority in this spot. Speaking of big money guys that I want on my side, DeAndre Nuke Hopkins right here, 7,900 wide receiver. Is there a better spot for a big money wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins than playing in Dallas? No, probably not. This is a guy that I trust to come through in a big game. Dallas still has enough offensive firepower that even if Arizona gets up, like I don't expect him to run the ball. Kenyon Drake is not playing well, and the running game is not working well. They're going to be throwing. What if Dallas plays well early? Things flip around a little bit. They don't turn it over. Well, then they're going to have to throw. Again, this is a controlled environment. Great spot to play. Hopkins has been amazing this year outside of the Carolina game. This is the best spot that he's been in. And while nothing in DFS is guaranteed, as you all know, this is one of the better spots that you're going to find for a stud wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins. I worry about fading him and he goes off for 12, 180 and 2, or whatever the numbers are exactly, but he really, really goes off. Now, can you pivot off of him in GPPs? Sure. There's other viable options in the passing game for Arizona that maybe you could, switch to or something like that. He's a lot of money, so he's got to go off in order to really have a negative detriment on your ability to win in this game. And while I think he has a monster game, that doesn't mean that Kyler Murray doesn't run it in 3 times or, Arizona scores a defensive touchdown or, hell, maybe even Kenyon Drake comes out of nowhere to have a good game or Chase Edmonds does it or something like that. For me, he's going to be on my roster in cash games for sure. But I get the merit of trying to fade a guy like this. There's other, like in the other game, which is also, we barely touched upon it, but there's really good plays right there. So as we pivot over to the Kansas City and Buffalo game, again, these are 2 good offenses, and there's a lot of really good plays on this slate. So it's a difficult slate in the essence that, no matter what you do, you're leaving studs out. There's other 2-game slates we talk about that, you have to get a little dirty with it just to play guys you don't really like. There's going to be guys you have to leave off on the slate. There's just no 2 ways about it. So one of the guys I'll be looking at for cap space is going to be Nicole Hardman of the Kansas City Chiefs at only 4,200. He's cheap, he's talented, and there's no Sammy Watkins. So spent a while looking through the Buffalo Bills this morning, who's in and who's out. Tre'Davious White practiced a couple times towards the end of the week. So my best guess is he's going to play. I don't know that. We'll have to find out later in the night as far as inactives. This game is first, so you got that at your disposal. And while Tre'Davious White's really good, he's not going to stop Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's a stud. Tyreek Hill scored in every game this year. But I at least think he makes life harder on Tyreek Hill. And knowing that Mahomes has, the ability to spread it around, a guy like Hardman's in a really good spot for success based on, value per dollar tonight. So he offers us cap space. He's talented. He's definitely got his run with the starters a lot more lately. Yeah, he surpassed Robinson on the depth chart, so he's clearly the number 2 wide receiver tonight. And I think he's very good value at 4,200 and has a potential to offer good value because, Kansas City should bring it tonight. All right, last up, let's talk about Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys. So quite clearly, there's a couple options available for you at tight end tonight. And I'm with you guys. I want Kelsey at tight end. Kelsey is the best tight end here, by a good margin, probably even by a bigger margin than Zeke's the best running back. So I can't fault anybody for going to Travis Kelsey, who's a flat-out stud. And I also want Kelsey on my roster. But as we've already discussed, you can't roster everybody tonight. There's a lot of really good plays on this slate. And no matter how you build your lineup, you're going to be leaving off guys that you probably want to be out there. So check out Dalton Schultz at 4,300 if you just can't get your way up to Kelsey. So Arizona ranks much better against the tight ends this year. Much better than last year where they were last place by a distant margin and all-time bad against tight ends. However, are they better against tight ends? They're better, but are they good? I don't know. They haven't played a lot of teams with good tight ends so far this year. They played a lot of teams that, struggle to move the ball, don't get the ball to tight ends. The only good tight end they played, George Kittle. George Kittle was not great week 1. I think he had 4 catches on 4 or 5 targets or something like that. Nothing special. So they've been better, but I'm not 100% convinced they're good against the tight ends all of a sudden. Schultz could be a little bit of a security blanket for, a guy like Andy Dalton who, doesn't have quite the work with the first unit that Dak Prescott does and maybe isn't quite as comfortable throwing outside the numbers. I don't think he's a must. I think he's an interesting GPP favorite, but also viable in cash because I don't know, like you can't get up to every good player. I would love to have Travis Kelce on my roster, but if you play Kelce, you're leaving off other guys. So that's how I view Dalton Schultz today. Guys, if you want the full breakdown of the video, day passes are available. There will be a write-up today. Cover the showdowns on the video as well. Only $5 available through the website. Otherwise, the NFL-only package is only $80 for the rest of the season. And there's going to be a ton of NFL information coming from us fast and furious throughout the rest of the year, really hounding in and focusing on NFL moving forward. So drop a like on the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.